What's up, everybody? Before we get the video started, I wanted to just remind you that this is the very last day to get entered to win this monocular. This digital night vision is awesome. It's the ADNV G14SE. It's on par with the mid-tier PVS 14 as far as performance, but it's lighter weight and you can record stuff on it. Check out the video I did if you haven't watched it already. I had a lot of fun shooting with this thing. The entries end at midnight Pacific time tonight. If you want to support the channel and get a merch item with your purchase, it really goes a long way to help me make these videos. If you're interested in that, go to fanofthem.com/PSR. That's fanofthem.com/PSR. The link is also in the description, and hopefully this thing will be yours. All right, let's get into the video.
This is my Stribbog in 45. There are many others like it, but this one is mine. Let's give her shit. Oh, Dak. Grand Power Stribbog SP45A3. Let's talk about it. The Grand Power Stribbog, and yes, it's called Stribbog, not Stribbog, but to each their own. The SP45A3. So this is a subgun chambered in 45 ACP from Grand Power, made in Slovakia. These are imported by Global Ordnance. Ran into Global Ordnance guys at NRA show this year, and I was like, hey, I would love to try that out, throw that in a video to see how it does. Lo and behold, got one right here. So yes, Global Ordnance did send this to me, and not only that, but they actually supplied 500 rounds of Cellar and Bellet 45 ACP for this video. So big thank you to Global Ordnance for supporting me on the ammo for this video. I'm going to remain unbiased. They did not pay me for a review of this. I have loved my Stribbogs in the past. I've bought one with my own money. I do think they're great subguns, and I'm really excited to try this one out because I have a 300 Blackout, a Honey Badger actually, that we're going to kind of compare it to, because there's a lot of actual similarities between a 45 subgun and a 300 Blackout PDW. But we're going to save that for a little bit later on in the video. Before we get into the rest of the video though, I got to thank the channel sponsor for PSR, and that is Aves Engineering. Guys, if you are looking to squirt out a glizzy, look no further than Aves Rails for all of your DIY glizzy squirting needs. They've got all the rails for your Glocks. They've also got a ton of Mac parts. And right now, I know it's kind of a lull in the industry in the summer, so any bit helps to definitely go support Aves, because they do love the squirting projects very much. And I actually have a show coming out on We the Free. It's going to be a collaboration between Aves and I, so stay tuned for that. But thank you again to Aves for sponsoring this channel. Never use PSR for 10% off your entire order from Aves Rails. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the SP45A3. So the A3 designation is actually designates that it's a roller delay firearm. We're just gonna check clear here. This thing has a roller delay system very similar to their little mini brother of this. This is the Stribbog SP9A3. It's the same kind of roller delay system. It's not a roller lock system like in HK MP5. A little bit different. It's not straight blowback though. I can tell the difference. I do have a UMP clone, and the difference is pretty significant in the recoil of this versus that. It's this little roller, and maybe we'll take this thing apart and I'll show you it. All right guys, I'm gonna just quickly show you how to take this thing down, take it apart, show you that roller delay mechanism. It's just a captive little pin there that unhinges this. Push this thing down here, comes off. And then I think we've got a buffer in here of some kind. Let's take our, yeah, so we got a big old buffer back there, help with the recoil management. Felt recoil, there's our guide rod and recoil spring. Here's our bolt assembly. So if you've seen this regular 9mm SP-A3 Stribbog, it's basically identical, just this part is definitely smaller and it's a less girthy bolt. So this thing definitely, bolt carrier weighs quite a bit more than the 9mm one. But there's our little roller delay, and there's our actual roller. This thing's going, that's just providing that much delay, and it does make a difference compared to a blowback 45, I would say. And you got a little bit of like skeletonized cuts in this BCG to make it a little bit lighter weight. I got this here, Dead Air Mojave 45, their new can, which is a modular design. You can remove the front baffle stack. Shooting 45 suppressed, especially out of a subgun that takes UMP mags, there's something special about that. So when you throw this thing on there, it just looks, it looks pretty tits, guys. God damn, look at her. I've actually put a good, probably around 200, 250 rounds for this already. I haven't had any issues with it. The only main issue, I had bought some extra ammo on top of the 500 rounds that Global Ordnance provided for this video. It was remanufactured ammunition, and it does not feed in this thing very reliably. And then I tried the Cellar and Bellet that they sent, and that runs flawless. I was worried actually that my UMP wasn't running all of a sudden, but I was just because I was using this shitty ammo. So I would just suggest getting not remanufactured ammo. Maybe it's not recommended by the manufacturer, but I saw the trigger in there and I was like, you know what, that looks a lot like an AR trigger. I wonder if it's just an AR trigger in there. And I took the lower out and I looked at it, and it essentially is just an AR trigger inside of a little trigger pack thing, but it is just the same exact pin size, same hammer it looked like and everything. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to throw a Geisley in here. Tried to put the Geisley in there, and it fit in there, and I was able to get the safety on and everything. It just wouldn't function, unfortunately. So I was like, you know what? I'm not done trying to do this. So I put a LaRue trigger in it, the MBT, and the LaRue trigger actually functioned. I got it running, and it was good for a little bit, and then the bolt travel would like stop there, versus with the regular trigger, it's there, so you can't see any of the bolt, but with the MBT in there, it was just kind of ever so slightly kind of just showing a little bit of the bolt there. I thought maybe it was the trigger that was causing the malfunctions, but now that I've figured out that the ammo is giving me issues as a reman, now I'm kind of tempted to put it back in there, but I will show a little bit of footage of me shooting it. It's super nice when you have the LaRue in there. This is just kind of like a standard mil-spec AR trigger, which is not bad at all. Has anyone else tried that? If you want to give it a shot, you can. I just noticed that maybe it wasn't going all the way back, getting hung up on the top of that hammer or something. Maybe that's the reason why. So why would you want a 45 subgun? Mainly, like I said, I just like shooting suppressed subguns, and the 45 cartridge, yeah, it's just a little bit cheaper than like subsonic 300 Blackout, so it's kind of like poor man's 300 Blackout. Now the ballistics are not going to be the same as 300 Blackout, but I do really want to see kind of like recoil wise, given that this is not a gas gun, just to see compared to our Honey Badger how this does, because the grain weight is very similar, like 220 grain subsonic 300 Blackout, 230 grain subsonic 45 ACP. So I've got the Cellar and Bellet, and I actually do have some jacketed hollow point rounds that I just want to see if they function in here. What do I have on this thing as far as just like tricking it out? Well, starting at the top, we got the lead and steel Pandora's box, the PB3 on a Reptilian mount. Then we got this SMS laser HFXC. I like it because it combines white light with the Viz laser and IR illuminator and laser. It's a really good budget option. Down here, we got a little chopped BCM grip here. I just like that. It's got Picatinny rail instead of M-LOK, so that's kind of important. If you're gonna run a grip of some kind, it's gotta be a 1913. As far as the brace goes, this is a JMac tail hook brace with the JMac arm bar, with a little bit of a heightened little cheek riser here. And then of course we got the Dead Air Mojave 45 suppressor on here, and some B5 Systems rail covers. The charging handle is ambidextrous. We've got ambidextrous controls for the safety. There's no ambi bolt release. The bolt release is right here. It's a very low profile one. And then we've got a mag release where your AR style would be, but it's really hard to push. I just prefer the thumb mag release right here. I think that's pretty much what most people would use. As far as the mags go, these are UMP style magazines. So these will actually function. I think these should function in a UMP, but they're made by Grand Power in Slovakia, these magazines. These are polymer 20 round magazines. Given that I have a UMP, I have a lot of surplus HK UMP mags in 45. And so we're gonna try some of those in there. They're actually restricted law enforcement UMP surplus mags. So very cool, very German, very HK, law enforcement only. Civilians don't have the right to have such cool guns, no. Classic. Got a little bit of stippling here on the grip, which is nice. I like the grip angle, it feels good. I know that Lingle Industries makes a lower for this, which is pretty cool. It is fully AR trigger compatible, and I have actually seen people throw super safeties in squirted lowers of this, so it would be cool to try that out at some point. That's really the full kind of kit. I say we put some rounds through this thing, see how it sounds suppressed now. Let's do it. Harvard's most distinguished graduate. Thanks, MK Ultra. All right, time to see how this sounds suppressed. So let's take off the ears. So naturally subsonic 45 into the berm. Oh, dude, that is quiet. That's super quiet. Damn. Super hearing safe. Dang. All right, let's just put the rest into this close target here. Oh, baby. That is really nice. And that's probably quite hot now. Oh yeah. This suppressor, it's actually a metal squirted suppressor. It's super quiet. I've put this on a pistol too, and she fucks. Mojave 45. I mean, that's a vibe. But you know what's more of a vibe? It's a made in Germany, HK UMP mag. Look at this. Look at her now. Ah, shit. Oh shit, let's give her a piss. Boom. Oh. Boom, 100 yards. Golly. She absolutely fucks. The way that looks with the freaking UMP stick mag, like, god damn, that's hot. Oh, I love it. All right, next up, I thought it'd be interesting to compare if we can hear any differences between the subsonic 45 suppressed and 300 Blackout subsonic suppressed, because these are kind of similar in a way in that if you got this, you might be thinking about a 300 Blackout. You want to know, is it quieter? What is it like weight-wise? Let's check the sound signature of both here. So we got our Honey Badger 300 Blackout by Q. It's probably just a little bit lighter than this guy, but we want to just compare the differences between 300 Blackout subsonic and our 230 grain full metal jacket 45 ACP. This is loaded and chambered. We also got a dead air suppressor on there. That's the Sandman X, the new can from them. Love that thing. Let's try just back to back. I'm gonna do 3 shots with the Honey Badger because it's probably gonna be a little bit of a port pop off the first shot, but let's see here. All right, subsonic with the 300 Blackout Honey Badger here. All right, 3. Now 3 with our SP45A3. This is just a tad quieter, I think. Yeah, and the person behind the camera agrees. Just a tiny bit quieter. You know, we're in the middle of this kind of chamber of trees in this field, so the sound does kind of bounce a little bit, but let's just do 3 shots here. It's very close. It's very close. Recoil wise, if it's easier to keep the 300 Blackout on target versus our SP45A3. So I'll get out the timer and see if I can put some rounds on steel, see how many rounds I get on steel, and we'll try both guns just to compare them. It's the battle of the subsonic PDWs again. I want to see if it's easier for me to keep the 300 Blackout or our SP45, the Stribbog, on target. The emphasis is going to be keeping it on target and getting hits. We're going to see back to back. Let's start with the Honey Badger. All right. Okay, it's subsonic, it's not picking up the timer. So the timer is really just for mental pressure only. Ooh, yeah, I think that was quicker. It felt like a little bit quicker on the Stribbog, but let's try the Honey Badger again here. It's interesting on the recoil though. I kind of want to test very close. Let's try it again here. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. As much as I want to say this one's less recoil, it is just a tiny bit more recoil. Just a little bit more. Honey Badger recoil. Yeah, just a tiny bit more felt recoil on the Stribbog. It's pretty easy to keep on target. God, it looks like goddamn walkie-talkies hanging out this thing. Moonlight Industries SMG skunk rig, highly recommend. It even fits these huge ass UMP mags, one of which I'm gonna take out because it's hard to shoulder the weapon with them, but use code PSR for 10% off. Moonlight Industries. Little reload. Oh, there goes the timer. It's definitely not hard to keep them on target. Can we bump fire it? All right, let's try. Answer is yes. Even with the standard stock trigger, you can bump fire it. Excellent. Oh, yeah. So our reload ammunition has not been functioning in both my UMP and this, but what about just, you know, dirt cheap Red Army standard, which actually is not dirt cheap anymore, but had some leftovers. So this is a steel case. It's just cheap, not so great ammunition, but let's see if the Stribbog will run it. See if it'll close on the bolt latch. Nice. Okay, let's see if we'll run it here. Injection seems kind of weak, but this thing's too much fun, dude. God damn. God damn. I love it, just for the aesthetics alone. I mean, dude, it doesn't beat the look of that. I mean, if I was gonna SBR it, which I don't really feel the need to with this tail hook on here, which honestly, the tail hook is kind of funny. It's actually like the most functional brace that's made. Like, this actually feels like it's actually intended for holding with your arm, which is kind of fun. Sure, maybe, I mean, you almost feel like you're just like, it's an extension of your arm. Good stuff. All right, next up, I want to try some jacketed hollow points through the Stribbog. These are suppressor ready, apparently. They are 230 grain, so the same bullet weight as our standard, you know, subsonic full metal jacket, but curious to see how these will run, because they are, you know, like a flat nose with the jacketed hollow point. So these are Nosler. Let's give it some nos. Let's go. Here we go with our Nosler 230 grain jacketed hollow points. And the, oh, okay. It's not a good sign. Try to close the bolt, and she didn't want to go in. Let's try it, see if it feeds. That looked good. Okay, nice. Let me see how quiet these are compared to the regular stuff. Seems pretty quiet. Ooh, yeah, a little feed situation here. I was going pretty fast with it though. Let's see if it'll take the rest of the mag home here. There we go. When I was shooting at regular, normal pace, it did fine. But interesting nonetheless. So it does run the Nosler with a couple malfunctions in there, which it is what it is. But this thing's also extremely dirty. We've run it suppressed most of its rounds we put through it, which is now probably almost close to 400. All right, we're gonna try to do a couple of reloads with the Stribbog and see how quick we can get our time. Got the mag kind of hanging out of my cargo pocket. Speaking of which, how drippy are these Cry Cut jeans? These are by Cedar Core. He's out of Lebanon. Super rare, drippy Middle Eastern camo dealer, and also custom makes these. Super cool. Got all the pockets and all the Velcro like the Cry pants, but they're jeans. It's denim. Oh, dick, and I'm sweating my balls off in this hot summer heat, but it's drippy, so that's all that matters. All right, let's try a little reload here. See how easy it is. Oh, dick. 7 seconds. I can do better than that. Come on. I'm thinking about the AR, and this is a hard one to press. It's not really a realistic one to have as the mag release. I gotta remember, it's final shot, out with my thumb, grab the mag, in. Ah, see, I'm reaching for, oh, dick. 8:06. Okay, it didn't capture the first one. Damn, but that was definitely quicker. 4:43. I think that's my best time. I'll take it. One thing I've noticed, and we'll get to that in the conclusions, but this bolt catch, bolt release, it's very low profile. It's pretty small, so you can find it, but it is just, I wish it had some texture or just made it a little bit bigger, like a paddle. I think that would be, just make it just a little bit better. Government use only. Because I'm wearing a Teddy K shirt, does that make it government use only? Oh, dick. Can you shoot it from the cock? Can I keep it on target from the cock? Oh, it's actually not too bad. Well, I hit one at least. Cock shot. All right, so that's right around 500 rounds put through this Grand Power Stribbog SP45A3. This thing is a hoot to shoot. It is super fun, suppressed. Unsuppressed, I would just rather probably just shoot a 9mm subgun because it's got less recoil, a little bit easier to control, but I wanted this thing to mount the suppressor too. And this Dead Air Mojave 45 was super quiet with this thing. It just was maybe just like a tad quieter than 300 Blackout, but the recoil is just a little bit more than 300 Blackout. But I thought it was an interesting comparison because they're similar ballistically. Obviously, 300 Blackout is superior in terms of just the distance you can shoot subsonic 300 Blackout because of the ballistic coefficient, all that math jazz. It's superior to the 45, but based on just like the drip factor alone, this is like the poor man's UMP essentially. And these do come in right around like 1,200, which I think is a fair price for what it is. When I do my UMP at home video, I do want to compare these two, this with the UMP. I think this definitely has just a little bit less recoil than the UMP because the UMP is just direct blowback. But next project would be to get this thing super safe mode. I have seen a fellow on Twitter who got his Stribbog, I think it was a 10 or maybe it was a 45. He got to do super safe go mode. So it's definitely possible. Anything's possible with 3D printing, of course. I haven't cleaned this really at all. I've just kind of lubricated it. We did have just like a couple failures to feed, even with the nicer SMB ammo. And of course the Nosler did have a couple failures to feed, but that's jacketed hollow point, you know, flat nose stuff. But the Red Army standard steel case ran great. Probably could use a little bit more lube or just some cleaning at this point because we've put, you know, quite a few rounds through its suppressed majority of it. My only gripe with this thing is I wish it was fully ambi. So I wish this had like a switch here so I could drop the bolt right here. And I do wish that on this side the bolt release was a bit heavier. I noticed that sometimes when I would hit the bolt release, it wouldn't fully seat the round. And I think it's just a better policy, in my opinion, to just go like this and slingshot it versus hitting this bolt release because it doesn't quite have the same amount of travel. That's more travel, just that slight couple millimeters gives it a little bit more momentum to reliably seat the next round, but I don't really have too much issues with it. HB Industries, great guys that make cool stuff for the Scorpion and many other, you know, firearm platforms. HB Industries does make like an oversized paddle for this Stribbog, so that's kind of nice. I'd love to get one of those. I don't love this magazine release. I mean, I kind of have to take my finger off the grip. I can't even drop it. I guess there I dropped it, but it's ambi on both sides, and I guess you can hit it with your thumb on this side, but as far as hitting that with your finger, that's not happening. It's pretty hard to, I mean, I don't have huge hands, but it's not happening. So paddle is great, but it would be nice if this was a little bit more accessible, or maybe if this paddle had an extension and you could just hit it with your finger like the Scorpion. I like this lightweight optic setup with the lead and steel Pandora. This has been a great optic for me. Acro mount. The SMS laser, we didn't really use it today to shoot it, but I have used this with nods. It's a pretty decent laser for $250. Not probably waterproof, but other than that, if you're just gonna, you know, plink at night and want a good laser for not much money, the SMS works great. I really, like I said, very impressed with the suppressor. I'd love to try it on 9 just to see how it does with 9 as well as 45, because you can obviously run it in 9, and you could run this with 300 Blackout. Big fan of this thing. I think I'm gonna keep it, and I think I'm gonna paint it. All the guns that you love, you gotta paint. Except for maybe that, I don't know, I might just leave the honey badger the way it is because it's pretty hot. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Big thank you to you guys for just watching and supporting. If you like this video, leave a comment. Tell me what your Stribbog setup is. If you guys want to follow me on Patreon or subscribe on Patreon, I do have early access to my videos. That's like the main thing that I offer, but also a higher tier, you get access to my music, like the instrumentals that I use for the videos. Guys, it's been a lot of fun shooting this thing. Make sure you stay safe, touch some grass. Hope you have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. And a reminder, this G14SE, this very one that's on my head right now, this could be yours. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, supporting what I'm doing right here, making this content, the link is in the description, guys. fanofthem.com/PSR to get your entry, you get a merch item, and of course, you help support the channel. So best of luck to you guys. I hope you win this thing.